It was February 14th, and after months of being single, I had finally started dating someone new, a girl named Emma. We'd been seeing each other for a little while and had plans to have a quiet dinner and enjoy a peaceful evening together. We met online and things seemed perfect. She was sweet, kind, and had a great sense of humor. We both loved movies, so our first date was simple, just a casual dinner and watching a film at my place. But as Valentine's Day approached, things started to take a strange turn. Emma started acting distant and anxious, and I couldn't understand why. She told me that something had been bothering her for weeks, but she couldn't bring herself to tell me. Finally, a few days before the big day, she opened up. She revealed that for the past year she had been dealing with a relentless stalker. The man named Ryan was someone she had met a while back at work. He was charming at first, but quickly became obsessive, showing up at places she didn't remember telling him about and sending her strange, cryptic messages. She had ignored him at first, but it only made things worse. He started showing up at her house, knocking on her door at odd hours, claiming he just wanted to talk. Emma was terrified. She had tried to block his number, but somehow he always found new ways to contact her. He knew where she worked, where she lived, and even her schedule. She had reported him to the police once, but they said there wasn't enough evidence to take action. Emma, too afraid to take further steps, kept everything quiet, hoping it would stop on its own. The day before Valentine's Day, Emma told me that Ryan had escalated things again. He had left her a strange gift, a stuffed bear with a handwritten note that said, "I'll always be watching over you, don't forget about me." Emma had texted him, telling him to leave her alone, but he didn't stop. I offered to go with her to the police station the next day, but she said she just wanted to keep things calm for now. On Valentine's Day, we decided to enjoy our dinner and try to forget about the stress of her stalker. We went to a fancy restaurant and everything seemed normal until I noticed a man sitting alone at the bar staring at us. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. I tried to shake off the feeling, but something about his gaze sent chills down my spine. Later, after dinner, Emma and I headed to my apartment to hang out. We were both in good spirits, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching us. As we sat on the couch, I heard a noise outside. Soft at first, but unmistakable. Someone was walking on the gravel path behind my apartment. I stood up, heart racing, and walked toward the door. I opened it, expecting to see nothing, but there, standing by the fence, was a figure cloaked in shadow. I froze. The man was tall, his face hidden under a hoodie. He wasn't moving. I couldn't see him clearly, but I knew in that moment it was Ryan. I immediately slammed the door shut and locked it, my mind racing. Emma looked at me, her face pale. "What's wrong?" she whispered. "Stay here," I told her as I grabbed my phone. I called the police, but my hands were shaking so badly that I could barely dial. I then texted her mum, telling her to come over to the apartment. I turned back to the door, trying to figure out what to do. The footsteps outside grew louder, closer. Panic set in. "He's here!" I said, my voice trembling. Just then there was a loud bang on the door. I jumped back. The door frame shook as if someone was trying to force it open. I grabbed Emma, pulling her toward the window, and we both peered out through the blinds. I could barely make out the figure moving around the yard, his figure more defined now. Emma looked at me in horror. "This is him. This is Ryan," she whispered. Suddenly there was a loud crash and the window I was standing by shattered. I felt the icy cold air blast through the room. My heart dropped as I realized Ryan had broken the window. He was in the house. We ran to the kitchen looking for anything to defend ourselves with when we heard him. His voice, low and guttural, echoed through the apartment. "I just want to be with you, Emma. You can't run from me. We're meant to be together." Terrified, I grabbed Emma and pulled her toward the back door, whispering for her to stay quiet. I knew we had to get out. As we reached the door, I saw him, Ryan, standing at the end of the hallway. His eyes were wide, manic. He was too close. We ran, barely making it out the door when Ryan shouted behind us. I didn't dare look back. We sprinted down the street and found a nearby neighbor who called the police. When they arrived, Ryan was gone. They searched the area but couldn't find him. The next few weeks were a blur. I never saw Ryan again, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there, watching. Emma moved in with me for a while, too afraid to stay in her own place. The police eventually found him and arrested him on charges of stalking and breaking and entering. He was sentenced to several years in prison. That Valentine's Day still haunts me. The terror of knowing that someone had been watching us all along, waiting for the right moment to strike. Ryan may have been arrested, but I know that there are people out there, lurking in the